On this webinar, we're going to take a look at how to create a framework. There are two different temp job types in the system. One is temp regular and the other is temp shift. So if you're watching this webinar now, you're going down the temp shift route. So we're going to build a framework, which is on the left-hand side. So we can see we've got a menu here, framework and create framework. So as I was just saying, the frameworks link only to temp shift jobs. So in this section, we need to complete our mandatory fields. So you need to give your framework a name. So I am building a framework for a particular client of mine. So I'm going to build all their jobs and their rates. So I'm going to name the framework with the client name, so I know it links to them. The framework level needs to also be selected. So you can see you have three options in here. So I'm going to be picking client because there are client-specific rates on this framework. The other two, one is agency. So if you have set rates that you offer out to people, so they're agency approved rates, then you can pick agency, or framework agreement means nationally agreed rates. So I'm going to go with client. Here you can input your start date. So I'm going to start from today, and you have a choice of putting in an end date on that framework. There's also an option to put a review date. So really handy if you know that on a yearly basis or a certain time of year, you always review and possibly change rates. So you can add that in if you want to. And there's also the option at the bottom to lock down rates. So when I build the framework and add in those rates, if I don't want anyone to be able to amend those, I can then lock those down. So we've now created a framework and we can see we're now in that record. From the drop down in the summary, you've then got the page where you can go and add in the rates for each job, and then something called rate time definition, which we call RTD, which you can then go and say when those rates apply. And you'll be able to see how to do this on other webinars. On the front page, we can see there is a place where you can put in default rates. So what you could do is add in basic rates in there, so default, so that every time you go and create a job in this framework, it will pull through those default rates. You can overtype them, but if you've got similar roles or several roles on the same rates, then you can add the default rate into here. That is optional. You don't have to do that. Down here, we can see linked clients. So once you've built the framework and the rates and the RTDs, you can then go and link companies to the framework, and you can link as many companies as you want. So the rates will then apply to all those different companies. So that's how you can create a framework in Adapt.